Clar'z Lagdamen. Ara siya. Wala? Ara siya. Honorable Presiding Officer, there are 9 members who are present and 2 members are absent. They are Honorable Maria Jhonalyn Mejia and Honorable Darlene Lama. They were not able to inform the Secretariat as to the reason why they are absent in today's session, Your Honor.
With 9 members in attendance, quorum is declared. Let's proceed.
We are now on the reading and consideration of the minutes of the previous session, Your Honor, but unfortunately, I would like to ask the
Okay lang?
this honorable body to defer for a while.
Defer for next session na lang. Wala na tapos?
Well,
Okay, it's okay.
due to lack of ample time, Your Honor.
Yes, okay. Deferred for next session. Proceed.
So, on the privilege hour, Your Honor.
Honorable Dumaran.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning to this August body. Mr. Chair, I would like to report to this August body the updates of the flash floods happening in this municipality, especially the Barangay Kulambog, Barangay Bambad, Barangay Kalawag 3, and Barangay Dansuli. So as of 9 o'clock this morning, Mr. Chairman, in the Barangay Kalawag 3 Riverside, we have 24 families evacuated in Barangay Gymnasium of the Barangay Kalawag 3, and that is 91 individuals. From in Barangay Kulambog, we have 153 families, but these our families are returned home just this morning, Mr. Chairman. And from Barangay Bambad, we have 106 families, equivalent to 361 individuals. As of now, they are in Barangay Gymnasium, Mr. Chair. So this incident report is coming from our Municipal Disaster Risk Management Officer, Sir Edwin Escleta. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Honorable Dael.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. I just only have 2 points for my privileged speech today. So first, it's about the Women's Month celebration. Month of March is celebrated every year in the country as Women's Month. And yesterday, it's not only the birthday of Honorable Maribly Cartojano Garingo, but it is also celebrated as International Women's Day worldwide. So, my heartfelt greetings of Happy Women's Day and Happy Women's Month as well to all women. So, wag sana magtampo yung ating mga boys here, mga kalalakihan, no? Because when we talk of women, so we, tayo, men, di ba, kalalakihan. So, kasama rin po kayo sa greetings po na yon. Women's Month is celebration. It is a celebration and recognition of women's valuable contribution and role in the society, in nation building, and as agent of sustainable development. This celebration also highlights the gains achieved for women and assess how far have we gone in the advocacy for gender equality and women empowerment. It is also an opportunity for women to take the center stage, standing up for their rights. So today, I am wearing a purple color bilang pakikiisa po sa celebration, because purple is symbolizing purple symbolizes a woman. And according to the International Women's Day website, purple signifies justice and dignity. And my second point, it is all about justice and dignity. So last March 4, it's not only the birthday of our Honorable Vice Mayor, but we received. So para sa kanya, yun po ay isang hindi magandang regalo. The 6 of us received another case from the same persons na siguro hindi pa po nakontento sa sinapit naming 6 in our first case. But I am with dignity to say na sa kabila po ng patong-patong na kasong isinampa sa aming 6 na nag-ugat po sa reklamo ng mga BHW at 2 kapitan, ako po ay naniniwala na hindi kasalanan ang na agrabyado. Balaan man sang katawhan, hindi bulag ang katawhan sa banwasang Isulan. And higit sa lahat po, nakikita po ng Diyos ang tunay na pangyayari. At ako ay naniniwala, I strongly believe in God Almighty. Na siya lang po ang tanging sinasandalan po naming 6, no? Kabilang po ang ating Vice Mayor, si Honorable LordDean Castillo ang ating Presiding Officer, si Honorable Mariblythe Arjero Cartojano, Honorable Rene Aristoza, Honorable Ryan Dumaran, and Honorable Clar'z Lagdamen. Siya lang po ang aming tanging sinasandalan sa panahong ito dahil alam po namin na nakikita po ng Diyos ang lahat po ng mga pangyayari sa bayan po ng Isulan. And that moment that I signed and received the copy of that complaint of affidavit last Friday para po sa sinabi nga ko na kanina, isa pong panibagong kaso laban sa aming 6. Lahat po ng mga bad experiences naming 6 last year in our first case flashed back on my mind, kaya hindi ko po napigilang umiyak. But crying is a sign of strength and not of weakness. I cried out for justice. I cried out for fairness. I cried out for truth. I am wondering amutana sinino ang sistema naton diri sa aton lugar. But with all the Isolanons na alam kong patuloy na naniniwala at nagtitiwala sa aming 6, madamo gid nga salamat sa inyo. Sa inyo po kami humuhugot ng lakas ng loob upang maipaglaban po kung ano po ang tama. Kinahanglan gid namon ang inyong bulig nga pangamuyo para sa kadaugan sang kamatuuran that justice will prevail. Madamo gid nga salamat.
Thank you, Honorable Gina. Honorable Armada.
I know emotions are high at present, but for purposes of the truth, pwede ta mabalaan kung ano gid ang nakabutang sa complaint nga to. Para mabalaan ta kung hindi ko kabalo mag-term, kung ato ba lang nga complaint ng harassment lang or may ara man rason ang iya nga complaint. Although hindi kita ang mag-decide kung ato nga complaint may bearing kay siyempre ara ato siya posible sa fiscal. Ang notice posible sadto is for the respondent nga mag-submit sang ila sabat para mabalaan kung may pwede kapadayon ato nga kaso kung hindi. And then of course ara man ako sadto pag-serve, it's very untimely. Pero siyempre ang nag-serve sadto ang staff na sang provincial prosecutor sang Sultan Kudarat. kung sino man ato. Posible why man siya kabalo nga birthday sa aton nga Honorable Vice Mayor pag-serve niya. Posible ang nag-serve sa to, iyang function is taga-serve man lang. But go back to my first query, Mr. Chairman, para mabalaan, tano gid ang ara sa complaint kung may anybody lang siguro nga makasabat. Or basi pwede i-flash sa aton nga screen ang complaint para makita kag mabasa naton.
Daw wala to na ano. Wala na personal scan kay hindi man to para sa Sangguniang Bayan, para to sa amon nganom. No? Mo gani nga tingalahan nga tong amo to nga kami lang anom nga halin man to sa Sangguniang Bayan nga action. Okay. To indulge Honorable Armada. Adto siya nadumduman nyo second niya pag-file sa mga BHW decide kami nga anom nga batonon ang kamo nga lima nag-decide nga wala sang hindi sufficient in substance, so napagawas kita sang tawag na summons sa pina sa dalawa ka respondent, si Kapitan Mansilla sang Kulambo kasi Kapitan Durana sang Dansuli. Nag-order kita nga magsabat sila October 28, 2020. Nagpadala sang sulat ang aton nga secretary to the SB kay siya nagapungko daw bilang clerk of court nga order sa dalawa ka kapitan kay Mansilla sang Kulambog kay Durana sang Dansuli nga magsabat sila sa atong complaint kay tungod nga may nakitaan ang Sangguniang Bayan nga may prima facie case ang reklamo sa mga BHW kontra sa ila. So amo to ang halinan kay nangayo sila sang resolution paano daw kami naka-issue nga anom sa subpoena nga ang resolution na pirmahan lang sa November 11. Amo na ang ilang reklamo. So kami lang anom ang ginreklamo nila kay siguro kay kami naman tong anom nga nagpabor nga magpagawasan amo sa to, no? So pero ang action niya to sang Sangguniang Bayan nga gin-realize lang sang aton nga secretary to the SB, no? Nga magpagawasang order nga magsabat ang dalawa ka kapitan. So amo tong reklamo nila basically. Kay nga nauna daw ang order kaysa sa resolution. Amo na ang ilang punto. I will not dwell on the merits of their complaint. Bahala na dang abogado nila, bahala naman ng abogado namon, bahala naman ng piskalya. Pero sa pamangkot, amo to, tungod kay naghatag sang order ang Sangguniang Bayan nga ginpermahan ni sekretary na ginapasabat ang dalawa ka kapitan. So kinkasuhan kaming anom. Amo na.
Based lang sa statements ng chair, nagagawa na ang pag ni ang daw basic nga facts nga natabo. Actually, I have not read the complaint, pero posible amo ning ila ginareklamo nga na ulihi ang aton resolution finding probable cause compare sa nga mag-submit sila sing ilang answer. Kay dapat may finding of probable cause anay bago mag-order to submit answer. Daw posible sa akon lang na nga pag-analyze ang statements ang chair.
Amo na ilangan. Kaya ang order nga to Well, amo nang ilang complaint against sa amon niya no. Okay, nagpagawas ang Sangguniang Bayan sang order bago atong resolution ko no. Nadumduman ko lang sa tanan niya mga pinangobra naton maski sa tong una nga case kapag file wala man gid nag-issue resolution ang Sangguniang Bayan kay sa aton niya ordinansa wala man na dito na butang nga kinahanglan naton magpagawas ang resolution but amo nang punto nila. Hindi ko balaan ano pa iba basta amo laman ang punto nila no nga nauna ang order ni secretary nga magsabat sila kaysa ang atong resolution when in fact atong resolution nga to gin-raise lang man to sila actually nag-raise to kundi daw ang resolution ti isang nagliligad damo naman ta admin cases nga ginatubang nga gin ano dire nga ginpatigayon no nga ano di sa aton pati itong una nga case against sa ila wala man ta nag-issue resolution kay wala man gina-require sa ordinansa nga may resolution kita nga issue kundi may ara lang finding of probable cause no anyway amo na ila reklamo para sila amo na punto nila.
Mr. Chairman, meaning ang ila reklamo siyempre hindi personally hindi ko yakambal kung may ground or kung may probable cause ining ilang complaint pero kung tanawon ta do hindi taman readily mahambal nga do wala gid pulos tong ila reklamo kay meaning may ginasite sila nga pitsa sa ila complaint nga hindi ayon sa the regular nga procedure sa ila man tan-aw possibly.
Gin-inform naman na sila nga nagkamali date sang secretary nga ato siya nga aton nga session October 28 hindi siya November 4 hindi siya November 5 ara may affidavit man gin-issue si secretary nga may minutes pa kita sa SB nga October 28 ato natabo pero wala man nila ginapamatian hindi man sila kapati sa minutes ang SB kita mo wala gani ambal gani nila wala sila ginpatawag di para ayuson nga may minutes man kita sina balaan man na nila pero hindi lang gid sila ambot hindi ko lang balaan na sila basta mo lang ng balaan subong may reklamo naman kami ginatubang patungod lang Japos ng BHW kag kapitan nga usapan.
Sir Chairman, siyempre ato siya complaint. So ang order sa respondent is to answer. Wala pa man sing may ginambal dito ang fiscal nga kung kung may probable cause na or pero siyempre ang fiscal pag may nag-file sang complaint
katungod man na nila mag-file?
Katungod man nila nga dawaton. Sa part naman sang complainant, kung may natanaw man sila nga mali, I would say, do may karapatan man sila nga magreklamo man. Sang mali nga nakita nila.
Galing basing sa experience namon dira daw we cannot expect a fair treatment. Wala itong natabo sa amon sa nagligad itong una nga kaso nga ginpatiyog-tiyog pa nakakadto gani sa post office ang provincial prosecutor nakakadto sila sa post office ginmail nila ang sapina pakadto sa amon nya post office ara lang das piya ko hindi sila makakadto pakadto diri sa amon ikaduwa pinapangalan pa sa pulis para pulis pa ang maghatag sa amon ikatatlo way gani ginhulat ang amon nga sabat wala gani kami na inform wala balaan man nila nga wala pa kami na inform kay wala pa tong proof of receipt gindesisyonan na gani so basing sa experience namon previously I don't think makakuha kami da sang fair treatment but that's pure conjecture sa part ko basta mula na lang daw makadula lang gana daw makadula lang sang salig sa big improvement sa part sang provincial prosecutor nga ginhulat gid nga makabaton kami isang sa pina nga ma-receive namon kay isang nagligad inaliwat ko nagligad hindi namon balaan nakibot lang kami may warrant of arrest na kami kay kakadto gani sa post office hindi makakadto sa opisina. Balaman nila kung di kami ga opisina, may number ganin sila kay Blight. Pero well, mula na. Balantaman kay Hiraldi.
So Chairman, ang aton nga Office of the Provincial Prosecutor are, I believe, manned by professional people.
Supposedly.
Ang ila sina nga procedure dira, do may hindi ko lang gid balaan gid ang step by step process nila. Daw basic procedure lang nila dira. May assistant fiscal na nga mag-handle. Tapos ang iya sina findings gina-approve sang chief nila, ang provincial prosecutor. So do two-step process man ina bago magwa ang resolution. I believe they are competent and professional enough nga mag-deal sa mga cases nga gina-handle nila.
Supposedly.
And these prosecutors are under the Department of Justice.
Supposedly.
Hindi man sila under sang any political arm
That is right,
by
supposedly.
the government, except lang nga daw presidential appointee na sila dira.
Tama ginatani siya, no? Amo gina dapat supposedly sa Office of the Provincial Prosecutor. Supposedly. But balaan naman ako anong realidad Anyway, I think wala man ta siguro na naistoryahan pa nga damo sina. Mula to, basta nakabato naman kami ng other complaint Same lang Japon, kay halin ng Japon kay Durana kay Mansilya. Tungod lang Japon sa tong action namon nga anom sa nga ginapasabat sila sa reklamo sa mga BHW against sa ilang dalawa. Mula na, sige, let's leave it at that. Let's proceed.
Mr. Chairman, may query ako sa tong previous nga privilege speech about sa baha. May update kita kung ano ang intervention nga ginobra sa aton nga disaster office or sa aton nga LGU Isulan.
Daw wala ba daw mo lang to siguro. Honorable Ryan, may update na kung ano inobra nila pa. Daw
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Actually, as I called Sir Edwin, as 9 o'clock in this morning, so far amo pa lang gid mga datas na gina-send niya sa akon, no? With regards to interventions, maybe ongoing pa, no, ang ilang mga planning with regards to interventions kung anong ginahimuon sa aton nga LGU, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman, ara kami dito kaina ang daw gina-worry kag concern gid halos dito sang tanan. Ang term nila to atong hardel. Practically do dalan ato siya sa ubos sang balay ni former President Board Member Dimasuay. Kay pagtaas ang tubig, ati na lapawan sang tubig to, nga mo tong nagbaha hasta ang other poroks nga tupad digto. So, ang mga tao digto ga appeal nga mapilingan to kag mapataas tong dalan nga to, tong gina-term nila nga hardel. Kaya ang concern nila, basi palayo lang, magabot naman ng tubig para hindi malapawan kag magdiretsong tubig.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. In addition, the municipal mayor was there at around 8 o'clock in the morning, siguro no, basta may mga negotiations naman or ano ni, update sa development sa mga plano para sa mga areas nga affected sa aton mga baha.
Sige. Honorable Apiado.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is also in relation to the privileged speech by Honorable Dumaran. Actually, last night, I was also there, and personnel coming from the Kabalikat, Mr. Chair, our rescue volunteers, the Philippine National Police, the staff and personnel of the MDRRMO, the barangay officials, the Bureau of Fire, and the PDRMO. May ara sila sa joint operation sa paglikas sa itong mga families nga ara dito lapit sa Ala River. And also last year, Mr. Chair, if my memory serves me right, do bulan sang Mayo kag Hunyo ginbaha man gyapon ato nga lugar, and we declared our municipality under the state of calamity, and we utilize the quick response fund of the local government, and during our meeting sa MDRRMC, there was a plan presented by the Municipal Engineering Office and the MDRMO as regard the utilization of the said fund. Accordingly, himuan sang plano nga mag-reach up to December to address this perennial problem. As mentioned by our MDRMO, this is only a band-aid solution. Kay bala naton dako ini siya nga problema. With that, Mr. Chair, can we invite our MDRMO and other personnel nga involved sa sining aton nga calamity response next session for us to be updated as regard the programs and projects nga ilagin initiate and the future plans of the office to address this concern, Mr. Chair. Pagkabalo ko do ara man subong ang Red Cross and the Office of the MSWD dito sa Babambambad, Mr. Chair, nga nagakandak sa assessment.
Sige lang, tanay sila, sabado sila subong damo ila trabaho. Sunod na lang. Sunod lang naton sila patawag para maubraan na nila trabaho nila.
And one more thing, Mr. Chair, last session we passed a resolution declaring our support for the conduct of the extended limited face-to-face classes. And na-notice natin isa pa lang ka-school ang nag-request.
There's already a proposal, ara daw.
Yes, Mr. Chair. The whole district of...
Hindi, tanana, binog nga Isulan. Pinirma ni Sir Balala.
Yes, Mr. Chair. And with that, we want also to know if is there a need for the local school board to convene stating their support for the said action, Mr. Chair.
Daw surplus age na kaya ang requirement lang man is resolution of support from the LGU. So pag resolution of support from the LGU aton gina. But anyway, they can convene if they want. Bala sa sila dito. Pero sa aton di amo lang na ito na branga sa aton lang.
May aras ang letter subong, Mr. Chair halin sa SDS. Okay.
Nanawag abi kagapon si Maninay pati Mama Aya, sabi ang supervisor in charge sa Isulan cluster area. Nga mo na kung pwede magpasakit ang resolution, mga sila resolution of support para lang sa bilog ng Isulan, tanan niya mga school sa Isulan. Para isahan na lang kay kapoy budlay man gid kung taga isa ka school isa-isa. So amo na isahan na lang ang ila letter rin kay Sir Balala.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, any other member would want to render Honorable Armada?
Mr. Chairman, as I mentioned earlier, ara kami to kay nasa Barangay Bambad. I would like to thank the provincial government of Sultan Kudarat the staff of Paksa Ali, Mangudalato were there, and they distributed food packs to flood victims, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you to the provincial government for that response. No? Okay, any other member? Honorable Cartuano.
Mr. Chairman, this will just be very short, considering that we already lack the time. Yesterday, I celebrated my 37th birthday, and it is so timely that it is also the day that we celebrate all over the world the International Women's Day. So I would like to greet all the women in the municipality of Isulan a happy Women's Day celebration. We will continue to rise above all adversities in our life, especially in this time of pandemic. I prepared a very lengthy, privileged speech regarding the development and in our latest cases that was filed against us. But I will no longer read it, Mr. Chairman, because there are more important matters to be discussed. That is all.
Okay. So, happy International Women's Day celebration sa lahat po ng kababaihan ng bayan ng Isulan at sa lahat ng mga kalalakihan na sumusuporta sa mga adikain pinaglalaban ng ating mga kababaihan. Mabuhay po tayong lahat. Dalaan nyo man kami, kaya support man kami sa inyo. Okay. So, let's proceed, Madam Secretary.
So, request from the Office of the Mayor requesting for the urgent passing of resolution authorizing the Municipal Mayor Honorable Marites K. Palasigi to enter into and sign a memorandum of agreement between the Home Development Mutual Fund, Pag-ibig Fund, and the Local Government Unit of Isulan for the implementation of online short-term loan or STL application through virtual Pag-ibig.
For second reading, next.
Item number 2 is memorandum to all women employees from the desk of the local chief executive with the subject celebration of National Women's Month.
What about that memorandum? Sige, can you read that?
So this is addressed to, this memorandum is from the Office of the Mayor, addressed to all women employees from the desk of the local chief executive with the subject celebration of National Women's Month. So it says here in relation to the 2022 National Women's Month celebration with the theme, We Make Change Work for Women, and the sub-theme, Agenda ng Kababaihan tungo sa kaunlaran. All women employees are hereby encouraged to wear any purple t-shirt or blouse every Tuesday for the entire month of March to show our support for the various advocacies and endeavors sought for women empowerment and their active participation in the community. Signed, Marites K. Palasigi, Municipal Mayor.
That's for information. Next.
Item number 3 is letter from the Office of the Mayor addressed to the Vice Mayor requesting for the Sangguniang Bayan resolution of commendation to the following personnel who will be retiring in this year. We have first Nineta L. Taipin, the Municipal Assessor, who will be retiring on April 30, 2020 or May 1, 2022. Maria Fema de la Cruz, Administrative Aide 6, who will be retiring on June 1, 2022. Ana Malia Peligro, Administrative Aide 4, who will be retiring on July 1, 2022.
Calendar on second reading, 3 resolutions of commendation to the mentioned personalities. Next.
We have no more items under first reading, Your Honor, but we have just received a letter coming from the Department of Education, Division of Sultan Kudarat. So it is addressed to the Honorable Vice Mayor. May I read this,
Go
Your
ahead.
Honor? So it says here, Sir, greetings of peace. Given the President's approval of the recommendation for the progressive expansion of face-to-face classes in the country, the DepEd Division of Sultan Kudarat is now ready to commence for both public and private schools in the municipalities that have been validated as compliant with the standards of School Safety Assessment Tool or the SSAT and have complied with the IATF guidelines and protocols and the provisions in the latest executive order released. Anent this, we would like to request your office to provide us a resolution supporting the conduct of the limited face-to-face classes in all schools in the municipality. We believe you are one with DepEd in its desire to deliver quality education despite the threat of the COVID-19, and we are grateful that your leadership provides us support to ensure the safety of all learners while we are taking the initiatives towards quality education. We look forward for your positive reaction. Very truly yours, signed Yunarda M. Balala CC, Schools Division Superintendent.
For second reading, next. That's considered read on first reading, and that's for second reading. Next.
So, for the Committee on Games and Amusements.
Honorable Mejia.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
we have ano to man, though partially rendered. I don't know, I forgot if the report was adopted, but it was cut short because of the request of the Committee on Finance to approve first the ordinance on franchise fees. So,
Defer lang,
I think we are constrained to defer further action of this measure, to give way to that measure.
Okay. Deferred for next session, or until such time that the Committee on Finance has finished rendering the report and the body has discussed of the proposed ordinance. Okay. Next.
Next committee to report the Committee on Finance, Budget Appropriations, and Ways and Means.
Honorable Cartojano.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning to everyone in this session hall. The Committee on Finance, Budget Appropriations, and Ways and Means have two reports to render this morning. The first is with respect to the amendment of the revised revenue code of the municipality of Isulan, and the second report is with respect to the annual budget of Barangay Kenram. So let me read first the fourth committee report of the Committee on Finance for this calendar year. This is with respect to the item Resolution enacting on Ordinance amending certain provisions of Municipal Ordinance number 2015-209 ISB, otherwise known as the Revised Revenue Code of the Municipality of Isulan, particularly Section 2A.01, Article A of Chapter 2 of the said code. A public hearing was conducted on March 4, 2022 at 9:55 in the morning at the SB Session Hall, and present during the same were the LEDIPO designate Mr. Linore P. Taipin, Mr. Edgardo Gregory, representing the Municipal Treasurer, different barangay officials, representatives of the cockpit owners, the sole proprietor, the applicant for a franchise to operate a privately owned public market, the Ipumavay President, and the members comprising this committee. The Vice Mayor also attended the said public hearing. So here are our findings and discussions. At the onset of the public hearing, the committee acknowledged the presence of everyone in attendance, after which the committee presented the proposed ordinance and explained that the local government unit of Isulan has experienced a decrease in the collection of local income since 2020 due to the detrimental effects of COVID-19 to the economy. It is then the recommendation of the Local Finance Council that the municipal government of Isulan should find other sources of local income, one of which is the imposition of franchise fees on businesses that are given the privilege to operate in the municipality. The chairman explained that the Local Finance Council had recommended the generation of other sources to boost local income, and last year, we sponsored the enactment of an ordinance imposing business tax on all contractors in the municipality of Isulan. We also sponsored the Talipapa Ordinance mandating stall owners in all Talipapa and satellite markets in the municipality to secure a business permit and pay the corresponding business tax, which has already passed review before the Sangguniang Panlalawigan and is set for publication. The Vice Mayor, the SB members, and all resource persons in attendance were given time to air their ideas as regards the proposed ordinance. The proposed ordinance was read thoroughly, emphasizing the amendments therein, particularly on Section 2A01, Article A of Chapter 2 of the Revised Revenue Code of the Municipality of Isulan. We will just flash on the screen the contents of the proposed amendment. And to read, K1, rules on how to establish. This is with respect to the establishment of a privately owned public market in the municipality of Isulan. K1, rules on how to establish remains as is as compared to the revised revenue code. But we added another section, which is K2, to read as follows: fees and charges. A franchise fee of 50,000 pesos or 10% of the capital investment, whichever is higher, shall be paid to the municipal treasurer upon the award of the franchise. Capital investment is hereby defined as total physical assets of a business for use in furthering its long-term business goals and objectives, to include building, infrastructure improvements, machinery, furniture and fixtures, vehicles and other acquisitions, but exclusive of obligations arising from loans and the land on which the business entity's office, plant, and equipment are situated. B, 55% of 1% of the gross receipts of the stall owner's lessors, which is by way actually of business tax. And C, there shall be imposed a franchise renewal fee of 25,000 pesos should the franchise holder wish to continue its operation and upon compliance with the requirements of the municipal government for renewal, provided that the operation of this privately owned public market shall be subject to the following conditions. A, no person, partnership, or corporation shall operate a private market within the municipality of Isulan without first securing a franchise from the municipal government of Isulan. B, all franchise to operate granted to private markets shall reapply for renewal every 3 years. C, the franchise granted being a mere privilege may be withdrawn anytime by the municipal government, subject to regulations, control, and limitations set forth in the revised revenue code, etc. There is also proposed amendment on section Q of on subsection Q of the same section. This is with respect to the operators of cockpit and or promoters of cockfights. Here are the fees that they shall pay. A, there shall be collected a franchise fee of 50,000 pesos or 10% of the capital investment, whichever is higher, which shall be paid to the municipal treasurer upon the award of the franchise. The definition of capital investment is also restated. B, annual fixed tax for the operation of cockpit in the amount of 50,000 pesos. C, a tax is hereby imposed on cockpit chargeable against the winning bettors or deductible from the winner's purse in the amount of 55% of 1% of the prize pot. D, there shall be imposed a tax on cockfight promoter as follows: 100 pesos per winning fight on ordinary day, 200 pesos per winning fight during derby cockfight. E, there shall be imposed a franchise renewal fee of 25,000 pesos should the franchise holder wish to continue its operation and upon compliance with the requirements of the municipal government for renewal. F, failure to pay the prescribed fee shall be a ground for revocation of the franchise permit to operate and closure of the cockpit. Late payment shall be subject to surcharges and penalties. G, the length of the franchise. In no case the grant of cockpit franchise for more than 3 years subject to renewal for another 3 years, provided that the grantee has complied with all the conditions and requirements provided by this ordinance. There's also an amendment by addendum that we proposed, which says all other businesses enjoying franchise shall be imposed the following. There are only 3 sections left. A franchise fee of 50,000 or 10% of capital investment shall be collected, which shall be paid to the municipal treasurer upon the award of the franchise. B, the franchise granted being a mere privilege may be withdrawn anytime by the municipal government subject to regulations, control, and limitations set forth in the revised revenue code of Isulan. And finally, failure to pay the prescribed fee shall be a ground for revocation of the franchise permit to operate and closure of the business. Late payments shall be subject to surcharges and penalties. So that is the proposed amendment to the revised Revenue Code of Ordinance to reflect the desire of the committee to meet a franchise fee of 50,000 pesos for these businesses that are given the privilege to establish the, cockpits and a privately owned public market in the municipality of Isulan. And for other discussions, it was the imposition of annual permit fee for the promoter, pit manager, referee, bet manager, gaffer, bet taker were also discussed. And it was explained to the representatives of the cockpits in attendance that the said fee is not the obligation of the business, but that of the individual promoter, pit manager, etc., and other officials. And the same should not be paid collectively, but individually. The representative of JJM Galera requested if the committee could lower the amount of franchise fee in the proposed ordinance, considering that they will be paying other fees and they're also affected by the pandemic and they have not realized their projected income in the last years. Mr. Taipin and Mr. Gregory explained, however, that the franchise fee will be paid only once every 3 years and shall be paid half of the amount upon renewal. The imposition of the amount is very reasonable and is a meager one in comparison to the huge income derived from cockfighting activities. During the course of discussion, it was suggested that the word capital investment be properly defined. On the part of Mr. Moises Tular, the applicant for the establishment of a privately owned public market, he approves of the proposed imposition of the franchise fee. He, however, lamented that it has already been 2 years since he applied for a license to operate a privately owned public market in Barangay Calawag 2, and until now it is still pending under the Committee on Economic Enterprise, Trade and Tourism Industry. He stated that he is amenable to the ordinance and is willing to pay the franchise fee required upon approval of his application. So it is the recommendation of the committee to pass a resolution enacting an ordinance amending certain provisions of Municipal Ordinance Number 2015-209 ISB, otherwise known as the Revised Revenue Code of the Municipality of Isulan, particularly Section 2A.01, Article A of Chapter 2. Further, that this measure be deliberated on second reading this session. Respectfully submitted by the Committee on Finance, with his representation as the Chairperson, Honorable Rene F. Aristoza, Vice Chairperson, Honorable Gina B. Belmes, Dael, MPA Secretary. That is all, Mr. Chairman, for my first committee report.
Any comment? Honorable Apiado.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I just want to be clarified. The proposed ordinance talks about the franchise fee for the operation of privately owned public market and the operation of cockpits. Are there any other business activity that requires a franchise fee from this local government?
So far, there are no other businesses given a special privilege to operate a business in the municipality of Isulan, but our SB Secretary had inserted the earlier provision I mentioned that for all other franchises that may be granted by the local government unit of Isulan, we will meet a franchise fee on them in the amount of 50,000 pesos or 10% of total capital investments, whichever is higher.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. This excludes the operation of tricycle for hire, wherein they are securing also a franchise coming from the MTFRB, the Vice Mayor as the
It
head.
does not include the tricycles. In fact, this ordinance had been inspired by the franchise fees we meet on the tricycles, because we meet these fees on tricycles which are just which earn minimally as compared to these bigger businesses that earn considerable income on a day-to-day basis. So to extend fiscal justice to the tricycle drivers, we will also meet the same franchise fees, although bigger in amount, to other businesses that we give the privilege or license to operate in the municipality of Isulan. In Isulan, there will only be a maximum of 2 cockpits as of this year. And we only have one single applicant for a to operate a privately owned public market. So So there will only be more or less 3 business owners that will be meted out with this franchise fee, and all of them do not object to the same and are actually very supportive of it.
Yes, Mr. Chair, and more in addition to the statement of the Chairperson Committee on Finance, we have 2 cockpits because the population of Isulan exceeds 100,000, Mr. Chair.
Okay, another comment? There being none, will you move for the adoption of the committee report?
Mr. Chairman, I move for the adoption of my 4th committee report. Mr. Chairman, I have another second. Sorry.
There being no objection, motion is approved. The 4th committee report of the Committee on Finance is hereby adopted, now form part of the official records of the Sangguniang, and the measure being recommended is calendared on second reading this session. Go ahead.
Sorry for interrupting you earlier, Mr. Chairman. We're just so eager to read my second report for the day. This is the 5th committee report of the Committee on Finance, Budget Appropriations, and Ways and Means. And the subject of this report is the annual budget for fiscal year 2022 of Barangay Canram, involving an appropriation of 8,418,668 pesos. So pursuant to the referred annual budget for fiscal year 2022 of Barangay Canram to this committee, we forwarded that same budget to the budget officer for her preliminary review as customary. Just this morning, before we began our regular session, our office has received the final endorsement coming from the Office of the Municipal Budget Officer and addressed to this representation chairperson of this committee regarding her observations and comments on the annual budget of Barangay Canram. So here are the findings. Here are the findings and recommended review action of the Municipal Budget Officer on the annual budget of Barangay Canram for fiscal year 2022, which are all concurred with by the committee. The said budget has substantially complied with all the budgetary requirements subject to the following limitations as stated. Number 1, per DBM Local Budget Memorandum number 82 and 82-A, the National Tax Allotment, formerly known as the IRA, or the Internal Revenue Allotment. That's what we call the IRA these days. We call it ENTA. And other local resources shall first cover the cost of providing services and facilities enumerated under Section 17 of RA 7160 or the Local Government Code of 1991, particularly those devolved by the national government before applying the same for other purposes. Number 2, the appropriation and utilization of the Calamity Fund or the 5% Local Risk Reduction and Management Fund shall firmly adhere with the provisions of Republic Act number 10121 and COA Circular number 2012-002 dated September 28, 2012. Third and finally, the Barangay Development Council shall see to it that the PPAs or the programs, projects, and activities included in the barangay budget are consistent with the approved AIP in accordance with Section 389, subsection B, subsection 7 of RA 7160. Moreover, the recommended review action of the Municipal Budget Officer as regards the budget is none. Further, strict compliance with all existing accounting, auditing, and other administrative rules and regulations should be properly observed in the implementation of the said budget, and that the same shall be the responsibility of the concerned implementing barangay unit. Finally, based on the foregoing findings, the committee is of the unanimous opinion that the annual budget for fiscal year 2022 of Barangay Canram be declared operative in its entirety effective January 1, 2022, as reviewed by the committee pursuant to Section 333 of the Local Government Code of 1991. Recommendation. Based on the foregoing, we recommend passing a resolution declaring the annual budget for fiscal year 2022 of Barangay Canram involving an appropriation of 8,418,668 pesos, operative in its entirety effective January 1, 2022. Further, that this measure be deliberated on second reading this session, respectfully submitted by this representation as the chairperson of the Committee on Finance, Honorable Rene Aristoza, Vice Chairperson, and Honorable Gina Belmes, Dael, MPA, Secretary. That is all, Mr. Chairman, for this report.
Any comment? Will you move for the adoption of the report?
I move for the adoption of the 5th committee report of the Committee on Finance, Mr. Chairman.
Hearing no objection, motion is approved. The committee report, fifth committee report of the Committee on Finance is hereby adopted. Now form part of the official records of the Sangguniang. The measure being recommended is calendared on second reading this session. Next.
So, committee reports, Your Honor. We'll proceed now to the calendar of business under second reading. First is an ordinance institutionalizing the integrated sports development program for the municipality of Isulan, the granting of mayoral scholarship for youth excellence in sports, or YES, and the giving of incentives to winners in regional, national, international youth sports events, reorganizing the Isulan Municipal Sports Development Council, and providing funds therefore.
Honorable Lagdamen. Is the committee prepared to discuss this?
No po.
Okay.
Refer to the next session, Your
Okay.
Honor.
Let's defer this for next session. Next.
Next is the proposed ordinance enacting the Freedom of Information, or the FOI, in the municipality of Isulan, providing guidelines and penalties therefore, and for other purposes.
Honorable Armada.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Do gamay na lang to. Kasi kung maski mga 10 minutes lang guro.
Di na to. Section 8. Let's proceed to Section 8. Tama ba?
We can start with the section 9. Ate.
Section 9.
Oo, kung baga daw may continuing correction kita dira nga kung ga-mention sang national office hindi naton makover local ano lang ta.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, to reflect our intention that this ordinance only covers the municipal government of Isulan and the barangay governments, may we reflect on subsections A, B, and C? May nag-echo. Of Section 8 to read that the municipal government and barangay governments, in A for instance, shall ensure, and so on with B, and so on with C.
Is the committee amenable? Okay. So, ayuson na lang na. Basta mo to ha. Para ma-reflect siya nga LGU Isulan na barangays. Okay, next. Session, next. Kuhaan nyo na ng authorized or unauthorized. Di ko muna ang ng balon. Basta maski access. Kuha na. Kuha na. Muna na diretso. Muna. Okay. Next. Wala na. Section 9.
Mr. Chair,
Good.
under Section 9, Paragraph A, any person who requests access to information shall submit a written request to Municipal Public Information Office. Do you have an existing office? Or are we going, or are we,
Base sa future, may create sa Municipal Information Office. Okay lang na siya. Kay base sa uli mag-create ta sa ano ba, future looking ta. Okay lang.
Mr. Chairman, may I just address this question to the Secretary of the Sangguniang Bayan? Ma'am Rac, do we really have an information officer per department? Like for instance, in the Sangguniang Bayan, okay, we don't have an information officer na designated. Okay.
Kuha na order the respective halin sa office ko anton dili na kuha na delete halin sa Municipal Information Office delete halin dito sa office Municipal Public Information Office from there delete until information officer delete okay.
Mr. Chairman, just for purposes of discussion and for record, it is important that the departments in the executive should appoint an official or employee who is a regular employee of the municipal government as FOI receiving officer and not a job order employee. Just for purposes of record lang, should they go back to this deliberation in the interpretation of this ordinance to make the government employee who has a regular plantilla position accountable, because a job order employee is not technically an employee of the municipal government and is not accountable under civil service rules and regulations. May we also request, Mr. Chairman, I also have another suggestion to make the subsection 9 applicable also to the barangay, kasi nakalagay municipal lang. How do we make it applicable to the barangay? Kasi if we just read as to the procedure is laid down only for the municipal government.
Honorable Armada,
that is a welcome or a good suggestion, Mr. Chairman. Kung pwede butang gidire, ang atong designated FOI is a regular employee.
or any authorized official or employee
Okay lang kung intindihan tang employee, daw ga refer manggit ni siya sa regular employee. Kaya lang, with emphasis lang, hindi job order ang
or any authorized
Your point.
official or employee is a
who is not
or is part of the plantilla with a plantilla position. With, or any authorized dito sa employee, kaya ang official pwede para sa amon. Hindi man kami permanent. Sa employee. Before sa employee. Okay na nga. Ano niya, makuha niya ang ang essence ang aton gusto, ang matabo. Ang permanent employee dapat para may accountability siya. Any comment? Section 9, subsection A. Wala na. Section B, subsection B. Subsection C. Any comment? Subsection D. Okay. May question lang ko ba? Yung na-discuss ta. Daw amo siniyang setup, nakita ko bago lang daw may autonomy na ang taga-office na mag-release. No? Like halimbawa sa budget da or sa treasurer da or sa health, ara na sa ilang katungod ba, sila na magdesisyon kung mag-release or hindi. Sila man ang wala na without the knowledge na sa higher ups. Daw mo nang gawas ba?
Di ba may request ang those who would like to get an information, they will have to submit a written letter, no? For every officers to release the information they needed, may I suggest that it should be received first from the mayor's office so that they have the knowledge of a certain or mayor's office or yung municipal designated information officer before proceeding to an office kung saan nila gustong kumuha ng information.
Honorable Armada.
Pwede ta kabalik to sa procedure ta. Ano
Okay.
ito? Section
Letter A, 9 section A.
9. Amo na yung procedure ta. Okay. Pag request mo, ang imong request ipasa mo sa Information Office or atong duly designated FOI.
By the office. concerned.
By the office concerned.
Off the record, off the record. So basta we will be guided by our ARTA. Ano siya, mula ning ano siya, mula ning tabag kumbaga general principle naton nga hindi dapat maglagpas sa 15 working days. But hindi po tambalon niya papton na gida kay may mga ara sa mga request nga kinanglan naton aksyonan dapat within 3 days. Ano siya? So, tama na ba? Okay? Sige. Next. Next section. Section D. Ano section E? Subsection E. Okay. Ini siyang na mga go beyond 20 working days. Aside from the 15 working days earlier mentioned,
It's more of an exception,
Kaya
Sir Chairman.
halimbawa, aside from the 15 working days nga regular sa section D, sa subsection D. Plus 20 pagid sa ano?
Plus 20.
Exceptional circumstances.
Exceptional. Pero this time, ang FOI na ang ga-request. Meaning daw, notify niya or inform niya ang tao ang ga-request nga exceptional. Daw budlay. Voluminous or something.
Di ba gili? May ara pag gili, luwasan ng 20 days, 20 working days nga extension, daw second level, may ara daw. Unless exceptional circumstances warrant a longer period. May level 3 pa. Okay.
Labizares Idol.
Fly high butterfly. 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 Par chi, papa paru paru chi. 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 Par chi, papa.
Okay? Any comment? Section 9, kabuuan, wala na? Wala? Honorable Armada? So can we defer discussion of this on the next session?
Okay. Yes, Mr. Chairman, to give way to other matters, I move to be for discussion of this measure for next session.
No objection. This is deferred for next session. Still on second reading. Next.
Proposed measure based on item number 1 of the first reading, Your Honor, which is the request for the urgent passing of resolution authorizing the municipal mayor to enter into and sign a memorandum of agreement between the Home Development Mutual Fund, Pag-ibig Fund, and the local government unit of Isulan for the implementation of online short-term loan application through virtual Pag-ibig.
Kasi nun STL, because we are tres
Good
loto.
government. Para man sa employees.
Mr. Chair, in joint sponsorship by all members present, I move for a resolution authorizing the municipal mayor, Honorable Marites K. Paliasige, to enter into and sign a memorandum of agreement between the Home Development Mutual Fund and the local government unit of Isulan for the implementation of online short-term loan application through virtual Pag-ibig. In joint sponsorship by all members present, Mr. Chair.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved. On joint sponsorship of all members present, a resolution is hereby passed authorizing the mayor to enter into and sign a MOA between the HDMF or Pag-ibig Fund and the local government unit of Isulan for the online STL application through virtual Pag-ibig. STL hindi na swertres loto ha. Short term loan niya. Next.
Next is another measure, proposed measure, based on item number 2 of the first reading, which is item number 3, which is the request for the Sangguniang Bayan resolution of commendation to the following personnel who will be retiring. First, we have Ninita L. Taipin, Municipal Assessor, will be retiring on May 1. Next is Maria Fema de la Cruz, Accounting Clerk 2, will be retiring on June 1. And Miss Amalia Peligro, Accounting Clerk 1, who will be retiring on July 1.
Mr. Chair, in joint sponsorship by all members present, I move for a resolution of commendation to Mrs. Ninita L. Taipin, our municipal assessor, for her invaluable service to the local government unit of Isulan.
Any objection? There being none, motion is approved. On joint sponsorship of all members present, a resolution of commendation is hereby passed. A resolution of commendation to Mrs. Nita L. Taipin, Municipal Assessor, for her invaluable service to the people of Isulan. Next.
Mr. Chair, in joint sponsorship by all members present, I move for a resolution of commendation to Mrs. Maria Fema L. de la Cruz, Accounting Clerk 2, for her invaluable service to the local government unit of Isulan.
There being no objection, motion is approved. On joint sponsorship of all members present, the resolution is hereby passed. A resolution of commendation to Maria Fema L. de la Cruz, AA 6, Accounting Clerk 2, for her services to the municipality. Next.
Mr. Chair, in joint sponsorship by all members present, I move for a resolution of commendation to Mrs. Amalia F. Peligro, Administrative Aid 4, Accounting Clerk 1, for her invaluable service to the local government unit of Isulan.
No objection. There being none, motion is approved. A resolution is hereby passed. A resolution of commendation to Amalia F. Peligro, AA4, Accounting Clerk 1, for her services rendered to the people of this municipality. Next.
Tama na? Next is based on item number 4 of the under first reading, which is the request from the Division of Sultan Kudarat Department of Education for a resolution supporting the conduct of the limited face-to-face classes in all schools in the municipality.
Honorable Cartuano.
Mr. Chairman, during the last regular session, our representative from the Municipal Health Office had categorically stated that we are ready for a limited face-to-face class in the municipality of Isulan, and by reason thereof, we have issued a resolution. We have passed a resolution of support for the conduct of a limited face-to-face class in Isulan National High School. And I believe all the members of the SANGGUNIANG Bayan are very supportive of this new development in education amidst the pandemic. And so on joint sponsorship, Mr. Chairman, of all members present, I move for the passing of a resolution supporting the conduct of a limited face-to-face classes in all schools in the municipality of Isulan.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved. On joint sponsorship of all members. At naman kita, present ka mo, no? Kompleto. On joint sponsorship of all members, resolution is hereby passed, declaring the support of the municipality of Isulan and the municipal government for the expanded, limited face-to-face classes of all schools in the municipality of Isulan. Next.
Next is based on the committee report of the Committee on Games and Amusements.
Honorable Cartuano, can you please wala games, wala. Finance.
Based on the proposed measures based on the committee report of the Committee on Finance, Budget Appropriations and Ways and Means.
Can you please sige, okay lang, maski na. Okay lang. Hindi kayo unahon ta datong kinram, pero sige, okay lang. Sige. Kaya base may discussion dabi sa isa.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I am very certain that the discussion of the amendments to Municipal Ordinance number 2015-209 or the Revised Revenue Code of Isulan will be lengthy. And just so to cut it on time, I am moving too late on the table in the meantime.
Yeah, diretso tara unahon ta na
para matapos atong ilang cockpit.
Laba
bito siya. Malaba.
Base ita na, sige lang, nantawon ta lang karon. Aga pa man, may harap pa tang time.
All right.
Unahon ta lang anay nang kinram.
Okay, Mr. Chairman. I move for the passing of a resolution declaring the annual budget for fiscal year 2022 of Barangay Kenram involving an appropriation of 8,418,668 pesos, operative in its entirety effective January 1, 2022.
Any objection? There being none, motion is approved. Amo na ning last nga budget?
Yes. Yeah. Last na yun siya, Ma'am Aida. I believe so.
Okay. A resolution is hereby passed declaring the annual budget for fiscal year 2022 Barangay Kenram with an appropriations of 8,418,668 pesos operative in its entirety effective January 1, 2022. Next.
Mr. Chairman, if we can flash on the screen the proposed amendment to Municipal Ordinance number 2015-209. Pwede mo man i-post.
Natapos na to. May draft.
Mr. Chairman, we are presenting now the draft ordinance amending the revenue code, imposing franchise fees to cockpit arena owners and privately owned public markets in the municipality of Isulan. So, the title reads, a resolution amending certain provisions of Municipal Ordinance number 2015-209, ISB, otherwise known as the Revised Revenue Code of the Municipality of Isulan, particularly Section 2A01, Article A of Chapter 2. Whereas, Section 447A3 of RA 7160 of the Local Government Code of 1991 provides that the Sangguniang Bayan shall enact ordinances pertaining to the grant of franchises, issuance of permits or licenses, or levy taxes, fees and charges upon such conditions and for such purposes intended to promote the general welfare of the inhabitants of the community. Second, whereas section reads, Section 447A3(7) provides that upon approval by a majority vote of all the members of the Sangguniang Bayan, grant a franchise to any person, partnership, corporation, or cooperative to establish, construct, operate, and maintain ferries, wharves, markets, or slaughterhouses, or such other similar activities within the municipality as may be allowed by applicable laws, provided that cooperatives shall be given preference in the grant of such a franchise. Whereas giving emphasis on the revenue-generating part of the Sanggunian and the need to increase the local revenues of this municipality through the imposition of taxes as prescribed by the Local Government Code in furtherance of its thrust to adequately provide for the basic services to the Isolanons, this honorable body finds the urgency to amend certain provisions of Municipal Ordinance number 2015-209 ISB, otherwise known as the Revised Revenue Code of the Municipality of Isulan. So, Section 1 is an amendment to Section 2A01, Article A of Chapter 2, particularly subsection K. So, if you look at the existing ordinance, there is already this K1. It was left as is by the committee. So, there is another addition to this section, which is K.2.
Honorable Carton,
Opo.
K1, amo ginasa dito na butang
Yes
na
po.
sa existing
Copied in
ordinance.
toto po.
Okay.
Yes po. K2, fees and charges. So here are the additions to the particular section. It reads, Ma'am Rak, this is not the ano ma. Sige lang, Ma'am Rak. A franchise fee of 50,000 pesos or 10% of the capital investment, whichever is higher, shall be paid to the municipal treasurer upon the award of the franchise. In the report earlier, we already added a definition to the term capital investment. We somehow derived the definition from the BMBE law, which exempts from the payment of certain taxes small to medium scale businesses with a capital investment of 3 million pesos and below. So capital investment is hereby defined as total physical assets of a business for use in furthering its long-term business goals and objectives to include the building, infrastructures, improvements, machineries, You'll just copy it later, Ma'am Rock. It's also in the committee report. Furnitures and fixtures, vehicles, and other acquisitions, but exclusive of obligations arising from loans and the land on which the business entities, office, plant, and equipment are situated. In short, ang bayaran na franchise fee nila is a minimum of 50,000 pesos. Or, depending on the assessment of the municipal treasurer, which is 10% of the capital investment. We derive this percentage from the BLGF circular number, ano yun, ma'am? 20, nalipat man ko, ma'am. This is from the BLGF circular. Pero, ang definition sang capital investment, hindi nagasali ang ilang nga utang, kag ang lupa kung di nagatindog ang ila building or negosyo. Section B is really mandatory. This is 55% of 1% on the gross receipts of the stall owners or lessors. C, if they would want to renew, they shall pay a renewal fee of 25,000 pesos. In the Ma'am Racquel, ano siya, it's provided in the bottom part, the number of years. So in short, if you are a privately owned public market, may bayaran ka na business tax, which is 55% of 1% of the gross receipts or sales. Annual ini siya for the renewal of your business permit, which you have an option to pay semi-annually every 6 months or quarterly every 3 months. Second, upon your approval, you will be paying a franchise fee of 50,000 pesos or 10% of capital investment. So those are your obligations to the municipal government. Okay. Business tax siya. Business tax. Yes. 55% of 1%. Yes. Business tax, and A is franchise fee. So we just restated here the business tax na bayaran, but it's also provided in the revenue code para clear lang. It says here in the bottom part, provided that the operation of this privately owned public market shall be subject to the following conditions. A, no person, partnership, or corporation shall operate a private market within the municipality of Isulan without first securing a franchise from the municipal government of Isulan. B, all franchise to operate granted to private markets shall reapply for renewal every 3 years. It was changed already, Ma'am Rock, to 3 years. Basta every 3 years ang renewal niya. The first franchise is for 3 years, and then the second one is for another 3 years if they would want to renew. C, there is also a provision here that being a mere privilege, the franchise may be withdrawn anytime by the municipal government, etc. Ma'am Rock, we forgot to put dito po sa the franchise fee na 3 years siya ang original niya na franchise. Kasi renewal lang siya, ma'am, every 3 years, oh. May we add, Ma'am Rock, in the upper portion. Ay, ma'am, dito na lang sa A, ma'am. No person, partnership, or corporation without first securing a franchise from the municipal government of Isulan, which shall be effective for a period of 3 years from issue. Parang ganun, Ma'am Rock. So, 3 years siya. Government of Isulan, which shall be valid for a period of 3 years from date of issue. Valid. From date of issue.
Sir Chairman, atong K1 kag K2 kaina sa K1 sa ano niya, tong privately owned.
Ang K1 and K2 po, both for privately owned public market.
Markets.
Ang K1, tong requirements niya,
Oh, ang
ang
K2
K2 amo nang bagong nga insertion naton. I-amend naton siya, idugang ta siya, bali may K2 na siya, dati K lang siya, K1 lang. So, butangan ta siya sang K2 fees and charges. So, it was agreed during the deliberation that the payment of the franchise fee will be paid as soon as the franchise is awarded. Subject, of course, to compromises with the municipal treasurer as to the issuance of promissory notes.
Okay.
And other
negotiable
negotiable instruments.
Supposing ang stall owners there is a privately owned public market, nang hindi iya sang franchisee, do nag-rent lang sa iya. So meaning ining stall owners nga ni makuha man isang business permit, kag siyempre is-subject man siya iya sang iyang business tax. Ang pamangkot sini, base may mga franchise, ay may mga stall owners dira nga hindi kabayad sang iyang business tax. Or may delinquency siya, paano ang renewal sang aton nga franchise holder? Maka-apekto ba sa renewal ang non-payment sa mga business taxes sa mga stall owners?
If we take a look at K1, I think it's not one of the requirements. Not sure at least. And normally, even if the business stalls will not pay their business tax, we are very lenient with them. Damo kita sang negosyo din na daw, kung kisa daw 2 years man gani ang business tax pero wala ginabayaran. Ordinance of Malay Antique, do dako tanang ilang franchise fee, 250,000 pesos siya for 10 years.
Mr. Chair, atong question ni Honorable Armada, kung ang business, ang person nga nag-conduct business kag atong franchisee is of different identity, sa akong siguro pwede siya i-grant ang franchise. Atong particular person niya nga wala na bayad sa business tax, hindi siya pagpaka-conduct business. Pero kung sa amon ang question, hindi pwede ma-sacrifice ang franchise atong isa ka person lang wala na bayad sa iyang business tax.
Yes.
Ari ba? May question ko ba? Baligya lang sa private. Business tax nila nga 55% of 1% nga ang hindi natong pagamon man nga atong mga sa City Mall kaparinta sila after 7 years na may araman sila ng baridan sa aton nga 55% of 1% man sang renta sa atong mga nag-lease sila. In the same manner, ining halimbawa ni ako mapatindo ko sa privately owned public market, parenta ko sa inyo, pulo kamo, tag isa-isa kamo. Ang municipal government, magkuha sa inyo sang 1%, 55% o 1%, di ba? Pero sa akon, hindi magkuha ang munisipyo, sang 55% o 1% sang bayad nyo sa akon every year. Dugang pa ng income sa munisipyo ba?
Actually, Mr. Chairman, for those who own commercial buildings, you are allowed, you are required by the BIR to have your own business permit. So, ining mga commercial buildings ngani, may business permit sila. Why? Because they also issue official receipts for payment. Kasi ano siya income man siya gihapon. This is not including tong withholding tax for the rent. Miyara, manapi na siya.
Pero wala
sa BIR
subject.
yun.
Hindi yung munisipyo.
Pero ini shop, kung may business, kung may building ka, required ka may business permit. Kasi, required ka man gihapon mag-declare sa ng income mo sa BIR for purposes of income taxation.
BIR lang, hindi munisipyo.
Hindi, paano ka makakuha business permit kung hindi ka, kung wala ka nag-apply sa LGU?
Kaya gani.
Pero required siya, Mr. Chairman. Although there are many commercial buildings in Isulan nga wala business permit. Pero kung i-require gid sang BIR, it's really required. Dapat may business permit kasi it also, do kung may gross receipts man siya diri ba every month.
Kaya gani amo nang punto ko. Ang punto ko nga ang nagarenta lang sa akon ang tagaan-tas ang imposisyon. Idugang ta na lang di.
Pero actually, even if we do not put it into writing, required gid ang building mo. So ibutang naton siya.
Okay. Di pritakon. Di sayang mo tong income sa munisipyo sa akon.
Mr. Chair, ay gusto ko lang i-brought out ining idea. Hindi ba na siya covered sang real property tax kinabayaran sa owner sa tong building kag sang lupa?
The real property taxes is computed based sa may ara sang may formula ang aton assessor's office for that. It is paid for ang purpose ng real property tax is sa lupa lang mismo. Real property not concerned but in the building also. Pero hindi siya maano ba? Hindi siya income. Do sa depende siya di ba sa size sa area.
Building naga-business pa rin ta.
Sa ako, Mr. Chair, I don't know if pero ako siguro, Mr. Chair, okay siya sa LGU, pero basi maging harsh sa parts ng negosyante that hindi na siya maging business friendly ang aton nga ano ba?
Off the record.
sees my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Feel like a dynamite, ready to explode right up in the sky. I need you to listen, I need you to hear, and don't show any fear. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight.
But
Pero
that was 2007.
it was 2007. Pero kita, we are trying to i-introduce, sabi naton ba, na they're very actually, okay sa ilan, iba, kay minimal lang ang fee.
Dito. Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, I suggest kung paano pwede ito ba mataas-taasan ng 3 years ta. Kasi siguro to ang kung 3 years lang renew na naman sila. Sure do.
Ang
Napuunta ang aton nga franchise fee, then mas laba-laba nga tinuig siya.
Ako, okay sa ako na sa kaon, Mr. Chairman, ang number of years naging grant ang franchise, pero magpasaka man kita sa franchise fee. Kay kung 15 years ago, may ara ganitong Malay Aklan, 250,000 in 10 years. By then, 25,000 a year na siya. Ining tanawon nyo ng 50,000, divide ninyo sa 3. Kasi hindi man kasali ang lupa, building man lang.
18.
Dudaan naman ng mga building, i-declare binila 1 million, oh.
17,000
Or
lang per year.
500,000. Ano kita kaya mo nang gin-declare sang ilang engineer, di ba? Ano lang, 50,000 lang gid.
Honorable Armada.
Though for purposes of discussion lang, Mr. Chairman, kung i-impose ang, meaning nagranta biyang ila franchise nga wala kita sang gin-impose nga franchise fee. Now, meaning ga-exist na ila franchise bago taging pasaning aton ordinance imposing franchise fee. So, are we not imposing ng daw retroactive nga tax sa franchise nga na-grant naton previously?
Actually, Mr. Chairman, in the ordinance that where we copied na some portions of our proposed ordinance, may ara sila dito certain provision which I also failed to inform Ma'am Racquel na to include in this draft, na nakabutang dito that all existing businesses previously issued by a franchise by the municipal government shall be meted out the franchise fee upon kumbaga in the first as if it's an initial franchise for purposes of paying the franchise fee. Kasi if you come to think of it, in many municipalities, ang mga kakpit dira, 20 years, 30 years, will be deprived of 50,000 pesos because it's a very meager amount. And JJM Galera and the representative of Mr. Lucio Roma did not object to this. I really asked them, is it okay for you to be? Okay man daw sila. They are amenable to the payment of this fee. So we will just add Mamrak, another provision, Mamrak in section Q. We will add that, tong wording, Mamrak, it will read as, businesses previously issued a franchise by the municipality of Isulan shall be meted out a franchise fee of 50,000 pesos. Ano ko lang, ma'am, I will email it later. 50,000 pesos as do initial niya na ma'am Rak ba? Do initial niya nga payment for the privilege. Kasi we can no longer issue franchises to other cockpits. Dalawa lang gid na sila in the next 10 years.
Pwede man mabayad sila ti effectivity sina 3 years eh.
Pero effectivity niya is 3 years from the date of issue.
Mas halimbawa, so kunyari lang hypothetically 2 years na sila nga nag-operate, mag-expire na next year, then daw nahimo lang daw 3 years naman eh.
When we said to them na ma'am, we already issued you a franchise in the last 3 years without this franchise fee. Pero to siling gani nila kay pandemic. That's why ma'am, hindi malaki yung franchise fee and they agreed.
Mr. Chair, I just want to be clarified under sub-paragraph C. A tax is hereby imposed on cockfight chargeable against the winning bettors. But silingon, atong nagdaog,
Ara siya sa ordinance
Yes.
sa daan sa revenue code.
yes, Mr. Chair, but as per practice, 10% automatic sa ila yung pat gina-charge.
Pero may
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, do you have any knowledge? Di ba may ara sang taga-treasurer sa mga cockpit during
Supposedly.
Di ba may ara?
Hindi ko malaan.
Silang gabantay sini.
Supposedly amo na. Are na lang ay tapuson tananay balik tanay sa committee nyo i-synchronize nyo. Synchronize nyo sa ato nyo
Sa
Mr. Chairman, atong ako niya question, do masabat na to ya kung idugang atong provision nga this or atong existing franchise will be taxed
50,000.
before the renewal.
Tapos nagapa-extend na 3 years.
Ang next ko lang question Mr. Chairman is hindi ba daw gamay kayo ning 25,000 tanga renewal fee? Kaya ti ma-operate naman sila for another
3 years.
3 years.
Honorable Carpano, gamay daw.
Gamay? Mareklamo man sila kung dako. Initially yung pandemic,
Hindi, kung sa renewal, 25 lang.
25
for another
lang.
3 years.
For another 3 years. Subject to amendment of the next sanggunian. Di ba? Para pumayag na sila. Nagsugot na sila ba? Oo.
And then, Mr. Chairman, para daw, I don't know, ang other imposition ta, ining mga winning fight, daw, pero daw hindi na siya related sa franchise ta. Daw, nang terms niya? Daw business tax na niya.
Kinkapin niya lang.
Part sa tong dating nga amend na.
So, kung ikaw isa ka cockpit, ikaw isa ka cockpit operator, dapat may ara sang business permit ang imo nga cockpit una. Kung may ara ka kantin dara kay most of them, all of them have another business permit naman to siya nila.
Kung may parkingan, another business permit naman.
Parking.
May banana mo na. Say, later on, pag-abot sa ano. Muna sunod ba? May pa ito resibo.
So, mo lang ni siya, Mr. Chairman, the length of the franchise is also 3 years, renewable for another 3 years for 25,000. Yan lang siya.
Okay. Table ta na ni. Next
Dakuan
session
niyo
naman.
din, okay.
Table for next session. Silong second reading.
Mr. Chairman ba, I don't know if you have any knowledge. Inang isabong bala, nagakwa sila business permit sa LGU.
Hindi ko balaan. Basta ang franchise nila halin dito sa ibabaw.
Sa national. Okay.
Daw loto, ma'am lang ang diretso.
Okay.
Per month, net. Atong ang 60 billion per month gross nila. 60 billion gross per month.
Pero Mr. Chair, for example, ang franchise nila laging grant sa national, pero kung nag-conduct sila business sa local, wala ba sila ginagawa ang sarili ng business permit?
Hindi ko balaan. Ang mga loto gakuha man.
May ara guro sila yung baydan siguro.
Business permit lang guro.
Diri sa local business. Ang franchise from the national man.
Franchise dito sa national.
Sige, Mr. Chairman, this representation as the Committee on Finance will study the possibility of taxing them.
Sige, base pa man lang, no? Okay. Sige, okay. So, wala na. Deferred for next session na ni Attorney Blight, ha? Okay. Next. Wala na.
Honor, we have already exhausted the items in the order of business. So we'll proceed now to the unassigned business.
Today is the birthday of one of our staff, no? In the person of Ma'am Eileen. Happy birthday. Ma'am Eileen, happy birthday. May you have more birthdays to come and good health, no? Good health and sige. Yesterday also, no? Was the birthday of Attorney Blight. Ari na ato yung staff, no? So Ma'am Eileen, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you, no? More birthdays to come. We wish you good health. God bless. Okay.
Mr. Chair, nagapamangkot atong isa ka empleyado nga na-meet ko nagligat adlaw as regard our clothing allowance. Ko wala ko sang ideya.
Hindi ko man balaan, wala ko idea. So,
Okay,
yan,
it's
executive
already
function man na.
Oo. 'Di ba budgeted naman na siya?
Bamot kung saan i-release nila, hindi ko balaan. Hindi ko paghilap, hindi ko maano kahit executive function. Basta dire lang ko sa function ta. Sige. Okay? Ano pa? Wala na sign business? So, wala na? Okay, session adjourned.